Can you please stand for the flag salute? Tom, would you be nice to lead us tonight, sir?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Tom. Thank you. Tammy, will you take us through roll call, please?
Yes, I will. Those present are Mayor Shaw, Council members Amy Baker, Roth, Armbruster, Kemp, and Maureen Baker. Staff present, myself, Bill Cameron, City Attorney, Adam is our City Engineer, Public Works Supervisor, and Lieutenant Driver. Oh, and our Code Enforcement and Building Official.
Thank you. Look for approval of agenda, council, please.
I move to approve the agenda.
There's a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed. Thank you. And now look for approval of consent agenda, please.
I move to approve the consent agenda as included February 24 and 2026 claim vouchers 8925 through 8972 and approved EFTs in the amount of $114,567.30 certified and approved on February 24th, 2026. February 2026 treasurer's report and payroll in the amount of $40,652.02 certified and approved on March 5th, 2026. March 10th, 2026 claim vouchers 8950 through 8963 and approved EFTs in the amount of $25,047.72. Vouchers have been audited and verified by the audit committee.
Second. There's a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed 5-0. Thank you, council. Anybody sign up for public comment? With the Chronicle? You want to speak?
I'll introduce myself. Just Owen Sexton with the Chronicle. I'll be here for your monthly meeting. Just report on what's going on. And I'll be snapping a few photos there. So.
Okay, thank you. What was the name again?
Oh, yeah. Owen Sexton. I had cards that with you guys.
Do you happen to have a card? Maybe you can leave with me and
Yeah.
when we leave. That's fine. Thanks. Okay. We'll go to staff reports. Brian, are you here? Got something to report?
We have 7 ongoing nuisance inspections. I'm also here to hear how things go with Bill. And we have several ongoing permits, but nothing out of order.
How are the code enforcement inspections, 7 going?
So far, pretty good. Most of it are voluntary compliance, and some we're having to do a little bit more extensive reaching out to. Nothing too bad. Most of it is voluntary compliance, with getting rid of roosters or allowing us to come do inspections for people living in RVs, which wasn't the case. So we're going to be closed out. And depending on how things go, if I guess what's day, we'll bet on that workload changing.
Any questions for Brian? Thank you, Brian. Lieutenant?
We normally stand overall right here, so nothing crazy this month, nothing that stood out as far as any calls for service. Everything's about the same, number 5 difference in those. I know the other day we had a rollover collision coming down in Minnesota at the trestle. Greatly appreciate Public Works for coming out and helping us with some traffic control. I was informed that just by the grace of God, when the car rolled and spun, it just basically paralleled itself in between the trestle and didn't strike anything, so there's no damage and like that to any city property. Some 18-year-old girls coming down the hill like 70 miles an hour, couldn't maintain that corner, hit another car anyway. Other than that, not a lot of excitement in the town of Rainier last month.
Any questions for the Lieutenant? Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Adam?
I just met with Bob, Tammy, and Darren before this. We discussed a new rural community support grant by the Thurston Regional Planning Council. Rainier is almost guaranteed you will receive about $310,500. So we discussed what we'd like to apply to
Thank you, Adam. Aaron?
I'm gonna be the oddball and stand. So your public works has been busy. We got the first prototype of the council tables refinished. I've got one up there working on now. There's 2 short ones and 2 long ones. The next one should go a whole lot faster, now that I got everything figured out on all the designs and measurements. Was able to get 2 new doors installed. One of them our entry door at Public Works, and one of them the entry door at Myers Boost Station. Both of those were deteriorating quite poorly, so those have been replaced. Was able to, while we're on the subject of doors, surprise Tammy while she was on vacation and get her door painted in her office.
Looks so good, you'll have to stop by and see it.
William has been super busy. You guys approved 100 of the radio read meters, and he's been super busy getting those in the ground. We've got all of Country Estates done, and this last meter read cycle, we were able to, literally as quickly as we could drive through Country Estates, we pick it up on the handheld and it goes blick, 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 and what would have taken probably 2 to 3 hours took us 5 minutes. So that was super exciting. He's got 60 in the ground right now. We got 40 more to go, so we're clipping along on that. We're going to kind of stray away from Country Estates and the development. We're going to go to some of the more difficult meters to read. We've got some that came up almost unreadable on this last go around, so we're going to target some of those now. But within the next 2 weeks, we should have the 100 in the ground, which is just fantastic. We're working on starting to assess our fire hydrants in town, what they need, exercise them, flush them. We had a meter box in between Turner's and the chiropractor's office that people have been driving over that collapsed in. We were able to make a nice, solid, traffic-rated repair on that. Paul has been busy working his way through Tipsu, working his way through Rainier Estates, working his way through Country Estates, cleaning up the right-of-ways. He's up to 47 loads now with our dump trailer, cleaning up the right-of-ways. And so I want to, give thanks to Paul for that. And with the crash here this last weekend at the trestle, we are exploring some different signage and possibly some bars, stop bars, yield bars in the road to try and hopefully mitigate some of that. From what we see, the biggest problem is coming down the hill. People just have too much speed, which I'm sure the sheriff's department sees. And so we're going to work on some measures to try and mitigate that. So, any questions?
I just want to give kudos to Paul for the crash.
Yeah, he sent me a picture. I mean, he just jumped on it and was here short order. So
Yeah, I came down and gave him a hand. He was on top of everything, working with the sheriff's department.
he's a real blessing, and the fact that he lives so close, he just within 10 minutes of getting the picture, he sent me. He was on scene and boom. So
Yeah.
kudos to Paul.
Yeah.
Thank you, Theron. Maureen?
Aaron did your PC last Friday the 6th. Not really a lot going on there, talking about some roundabouts there in Olympia, and they're starting to put stuff together for their comprehensive plan, and really that's about it. Next meeting will be Friday, April 3rd.
Thank you. Any questions for Maureen? Ron?
Transportation policy board tomorrow, so schedule one of the normal meetings, so I don't look at the agenda, see what it is, but there's more on the agenda.
Okay.
That's it for me.
Any questions for Ron? Thank you, Ron. Tom?
Just the Thurston County Emergency Management crew has put out a contact through our phones and emails. And the contacts through the phones, in case all the phone towers go down or something like that,
we've let that slip, but yeah, I will make note of that.
Yeah.
We will be more punctual on
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Tom? Ryan? Any questions for Ryan? Amy?
I went to the study meeting, February 20th. It was my first one, so I just kind of got acclimated on what happens there and what we present. I would love it if we maybe can come up with some things that I can update them on next time. So if you have anything, email me and I will add it. The main thing they went over was the Thurston County Art Contest is coming up soon-ish. More updates in March on that. They talked about the lodging tax advisory committee and all the applications, which the deadline for that is passed, but if we have any past events, they can approve them retroactively, apparently. Did not know. And Experience Olympian and Beyond did a big to-do. But that's it.
Thank you. Any questions for Amy? Bill, you got anything besides what we're gonna go to in a couple minutes?
Just that this is the 150th anniversary of First Homecoming.
Good news. You always have something new.
I got something.
Any questions for Bill? I've got Thurston County Mayor's meeting this Friday. And other thing that we talked about the last meeting, you guys approved as a council money to repair Center Street before we chip seal, if you remember it from last meeting, and Bill was going to check about, can we just do that with the bids that Theron had. Bill got back to us that was the way we need to go through it. So the other thing that we had with Adam and Tammy and Theron in our meeting tonight is Adam thinks that Adam's basically gonna go to bid this spring and add the repairs to the road that you guys allocated money for, tie that in with one big bid for the repairs and the chip seal, as the repairs have to be done before the repairs. We're hoping that by doing it in one bid, we'll save some money also. So, I don't know if you were waiting for me to say that, but that's the other thing we talked about. So, hopefully Adam will have some feedback here once he sends that out to bid. But just so you know that we're combining that in with the $420,000 that we got from TIB for the chip seal, right? And the money you put forward onto that, and it'll be one bid that he'll send out.
It's really part of the chip seal project, yes, for that, and the TIB may provide some extra funds for it, so.
Just wanted to let you know where we came up with that. That's all I have.
I have nothing new to report.
Okay, we'll move to new business. So first new business is Amy want to discuss information regarding America's 250-year celebration.
Yes. Which I found out today we are officially a partner.
Yes.
Didn't know that.
Yes.
I didn't know we had already filled it out. So America's 250th, we agreed to do something for it. Nothing specific. We don't have any, as far as I can tell, we don't have any specific guidelines on what we do. So we were talking about adding this as an add-on to the Roundup Days, since we already have Roundup Days. It's already planned. We already have a date. We already have funds allotted, and we're already doing a parade. So, how do we feel about that? What else? And do we have any additional ideas as far as what we would like to do?
Can we just incorporate it into the parade?
Do a float maybe?
Or just, we already do the, public works vehicles and stuff, we can
Oh
just
yeah.
decorate those and we always do some kind of a giveaway, we can give away little flags or something. And just make that part of our roundup things.
I like it. Do we wanna do anything after the parade? We talked about doing a beer garden. It's the only idea I came up with. I don't know what that says about me, but.
Last time somebody did a beer garden for something, it didn't go over very well. What was that for?
It was at the Bluegrass Festival.
Oh.
I think we were about the only participants.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I didn't know if they're being very.
The Vikings did that too. The Viking thing.
Yeah.
So we don't have to decide right this minute, but we can start thinking about it, think of add-ons, think of, you know, how we can make it stand out a little bit. Also gives us an opportunity to add that event to like the Experience Olympia Beyond website, bring in a little revenue, things like that, so.
Pie eating contest.
I thought of that one too, actually. So beer and pie is basically where my brain went.
Barbecue hot dogs.
Okay,
And
we'll
that's
see
it.
that.
That's all I have.
Thank you, Amy.
My turn?
Keep it under 20 minutes.
I'm gonna try and keep it under 10.
I appreciate that.
I know each one of these people has thoroughly read the memorandum that I sent around, and so they.
I actually read it last night, so I know they did, because I'm usually the one that doesn't. It's all yours, Bill.
All right,
And Brian,
all right. Wake up, wake up, wake up. We came up with a little problem here the month or so ago. Okay,
it was just up there.
it was up there
There it
just a
is.
moment ago. Well, there it is now. Where is it now?
Almost like it's,
We're not connected.
it's connected.
Hey, well,
but
we're
it's almost like
connected,
the
all right.
TV's shorting out or
All
something,
right.
because it's not flashing on your screen.
No, it's not flashing on my screen. Yeah.
Let's make sure the cable's. You got it, right?
Is there something going on back there? 'Cause I tried this out beforehand, so that wouldn't happen.
There we go, looks like it's gonna stick.
Oh, okay. Well, I made the memorandum up, and then I just asked Copilot, could you turn this into a PowerPoint presentation? And so that's why that little note down there. It did it, and it was just a mess. I had to rewrite it, but that's okay. I'll give it credit for this.
Did you add the note or did Copilot add the note?
Well, I wrote the memo, and then I said, can you turn this into a PowerPoint presentation? Well, they didn't put any pictures in it, didn't do anything like that. It just, you know. Now, we have a model traffic ordinance, with one of the first things the city passed when it was incorporated. The state has what they call a model traffic ordinance. It's a part of the Washington Administrative Code, and so all we have to do is adopt it, and they supposedly keep it up to date, and it'll be the same as the state law. And that's good because our agreement with the sheriff, they don't enforce municipal ordinances, they just enforce state law and county ordinances. So this is to get rid of over the years, little pieces have been put in about things like no compression brakes. I don't know what happens if you have an unmuffled compression brake, you come into town and somebody pulls out in front of you, you're not supposed to stop, you just run into them, I guess. I never figured that one out, but so I still see those in front of towns every once in a while. But this would update it to just be the model traffic ordinance, or essentially just state law. We came up with an issue at Second and Idaho. I got a call from Tammy that I got an appeal. Somebody had an RV parked in the right of way. And that violated the 72-hour limit that we put in a couple of years ago. Now, we passed that because we have ways of taking care of people staying in RVs if they're on private property, but not if it's just parked on the street. And so we had passed ordinance 722 to discourage that vagrants, basically. Homeless people, they euphemistically sometimes called it, of course not homeless, they just lived in a motor home, that's all. So, we kind of paused this because the appeal it wasn't timely, and it was timely, and it was kind of a mess, so procedurally, so let's just stop and take a look at this, because that wasn't really what was intended to be done. And this is what the situation looks like. This is Second Avenue at Idaho Street, and you can see the fence line, and you see where the utility poles are. They mark the edge of the right-of-way. So it's pretty clear that somebody's got a house trailer parked in front of their house in the right-of-way, not in the street. Excuse me. And that would violate the ordinance the way it's written right now. But they're not the only one. That house trailer, that's not a very close shot, but it's definitely in the right of way, and it's been there for quite a while. There are a couple of dead cars sitting in the right of way in front of somebody's house. That's another issue we get to take care of. Now, RV ownership can sometimes strain street parking, and older neighborhoods like Second Avenue, there's just a lack of space sometimes for vehicles. Newer subdivisions also have a problem. Your typical right-of-way is going to be 60 feet wide. So what people consider their front yard in many cases is actually part of the right-of-way. There's also a zoning ordinance that we have maybe an issue with. The outdoor storage of recreational vehicles, which includes house trailers and RVs and motorhomes and what have you, they're supposed to be screened from view from surrounding neighbors to the maximum extent feasible. And that really isn't happening around town at all. And this ordinance does not deal with the zoning ordinance. I think we're permitted to change it one time in a year, and so we won't be doing any of that until our planners had a chance to weigh in on this thing. And maybe the planning commission as well. That is what a screened RV looks like. Now, I'm not sure that that's a lot better than just having it sitting out there. Brian, do you know what was underneath that?
It was an old RV that they had.
Okay,
So
because
they covered it
if
up.
you look at this one, they got the old Fleetwood
Oh,
set next to
then
it.
that would be the vehicle in the driveway. That was the windows down. They covered it up.
Okay,
They had before in front of the RV, they had an abandoned truck, disabled truck that was moving.
it was just sitting there?
Yep.
Oh,
And
okay.
they voluntarily complied. This was one of the people that voluntarily complied.
Oh, except they didn't get rid of the Fleetwood.
Yeah, the RV is just in storage, so they're not using it, they're not sitting in it, it's not in our right of way. So, whereas the other ones that we were specifically addressing were RVs that were directly in the right of way that we were trying to address, like water meters or maintaining the right of ways, which
Okay.
is our staff is constantly having to deal with. And so we're trying to find.
Looks like a nuisance to me.
It certainly can be associated with that, but someone could also look at that and say that they're just storing an RV there.
Now, Karen Court's, of course, a problem because you got small lots packed into that. But this is, what, Carter Walk?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, that house trailer is probably sitting behind those utility boxes, so it's probably not in the right of way, but it's turned around the other way, and the one on the right and certainly the one on the left are sitting in the right of way. And you can tell that, I mean, there've been gravel areas specifically made for these things. And frankly, I don't think it's very tasteful, but obviously the people that own them love to keep them out there. So, some people, they're clutter, sometimes they're just my big beautiful house trailer. And there's really no clear way to define aesthetics, but we do need to have some kind of uniform enforcement. So, now the draft ordinance that I sent you, and it is a draft, I didn't intend for anybody to vote on it. If your homework is assignment is whether or not we should pass that, or should we amend it, or do something else, or just leave things the way they are. One of the things I put in it, you could store the thing in front of your own property, if you want to. That would be treating the older neighborhoods and the lower rent district the same as the newer and a little more upper class. The motor home, or the house trailers up on Carver Walk were, $40,000 to $80,000 a piece. The one down on Second Avenue is maybe worth $20,000 on bid. So there's some disparity there, and obviously we want to treat everybody fairly. The other would be to get rid of regulations that we really can't enforce, and just rely on the normal traffic ordinance. So I've got to the end of that, and I did it in 10 minutes. Does anybody have any questions?
There's a couple places that have a lot of old falling down trailer junk, trailers and stuff like that.
Well, that's not really the issue. You just need to tell Brian, and he'll go stick a gun in their ear and make them clean it up, whatever he does.
Yeah, because it's pretty bad.
You talk until it's not.
I think the problem is that we don't have a lot of meat to go after, so I think that was the purpose of Bill changing this up a little bit, identifying, are we gonna go after the RVs that are in the right of way, or are we gonna set a guideline standard? So he did include, everybody did get the chance hopefully to read what he wrote, so it gives me some teeth. Whereas, I don't have any right now.
I have questions. Nobody else does. Okay, so the biggest impact of changing this is that we are now using the model traffic ordinance, so we can now call Thurston County Sheriff for enforcement on some of these? Is that what I'm understanding?
You really don't have parking problems in this town.
What are you, parking? Oh, no, I meant the rest of it.
But no, that's basically what
But
was,
that's
what
what
was
we're,
changed, yeah.
that's the impact, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing. So instead of Brian just walking around and going, hey, fix your stuff, we actually can then
Well,
call you if they don't listen, and is that, am I understanding that correctly?
That might be an exaggeration, because the
I mean,
only
go
thing they're
figure.
gonna enforce is if somebody, somebody's car breaks down in the middle of the street, or they're in an accident or something like that,
Okay.
they're gonna call the tow truck, and the haul away. That's about the extent of it. Somebody, just parks their car in the middle of the street, walks away, they can enforce that too. But there's a lot of stuff in Title 10 that, is just not useful anymore.
The main thing that we would concern ourselves with as far as the city goes are things that are gonna be problematic for the ingress and egress of emergency vehicles to the area. Whether or not it's causing a hindrance for people coming in and out of intersections or driveways to be able to clearly see down the road, those types of things. And I may be wrong, but generally is the case, it seems like, is that even though the city has ordinances within the city, our legitimate enforcement actions take place through the county ordinances as part of the contract with the city. And some of those will most likely match each other. So I would venture to guess that the sheriff's office look on this would be that we'd be here to help the city with those things and try to get that message across, but those smaller implementations of city ordinance are probably gonna fall within the city for notices and fines and stuff like that, other than, I can tell you, we would never show up and jerk somebody's trailer out of their driveway because it was encroaching on the city, on a right of way. That just wouldn't happen, unless I said those other things do, come into effect, which it being an emergency kind of concern about things like that.
Right.
Well, ordinance 742, the way Bill rewrote it is he identified, what we can keep in the city. So I think you also specified the length of an RV, how long they can be here, as well as you cleaned up the MTO.
Yeah.
So there is multiple things. So what Bill sent out with ordinance 742 changes, you can see he put in some more specifics. Instead, he also took out where it did have the police department, because the city had its own police department. It changed the wording to just now
Yeah.
code enforcement. So then now I can go after some of those things that are there.
Because
So
you are the designee.
I am the longest.
I love it. I need your cell phone number. I'll just text you.
But, so, this is, actually, we're just asking for a little guidance. If you're happy with these ideas, I need to reread this because it's long, and like very long ordinances I've found, to made some mistakes in it. So if you see something that doesn't look right to you, it might not be. So,
I liked one.
And as a side note to, since you're talking about technically some traffic issues, the sheriff's office has just implemented a new traffic division within our agency. We've had some traffic enforcement deputies in the past, but we now have a designated traffic unit that has just been assigned a sergeant to be in charge of that, as well as Charlie Alt, Deputy Alt, who works for our county roads. He's kind of the roads guy. He's been implemented into that. And we have 2 full-time traffic deputies and are adding 2 more this year. So I say all that to let you know that if you do start seeing an uptick or do have legitimate concerns about traffic issues within the city, we now have people that are subject matter experts in all those little nuanced things, and we can definitely facilitate getting those taken care of.
So Bill, in the current ordinance, there's that 72-hour thing, correct?
right, yes.
And explain that to the council.
Okay, what a couple of years ago, when we thought we might have some homeless issues, people sleeping in basically RVs that, they acquired or barely running, and they could park on the street basically indefinitely. And so we passed this ordinance to prohibit people from parking the vehicle for more than 72 hours, the RV. And as far as I know, we really haven't had a problem with it at all. In the case over here, of course, that means that the people up on Carter Walk that I took their picture, and the folks on Second Avenue, they're in violation of the ordinance. But that wasn't what it was really intended to do. So the way I reworded it is simply to say that you could park it on your own property in the right of way, as long as you're not obstructing the travel portion of the road. So that makes sense to you and it makes you happy, we're in good shape.
That ordinance that we came up with a few years ago was we was having a lot of problems, like on the park and over in that parking lot by the church.
Yeah.
That type of place, people were parking.
Just living there, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that really helped that matter, that new ordinance.
Yeah,
that
and
we passed.
that would stay in place. Just the exception that if you happen to have an RV, you can park it in front of your house. That way we don't have to, get nasty with people that, have an RV and they've no place else to put it. Especially in the older part of town, where you've got limited parking and the lots aren't necessarily very big. And, First and Third Avenue are basically alleys. So, yeah.
I think we just need you to think about the right-of-way situations. the end of last year, we had told Brian that we wanted to clean up junk vehicles in right of ways. Correct?
Yes.
And now it's leading to more things in the right of ways. And you got a situation where they did not want to move the RV over to one street that he told him, and that is what his dialogue all this. So you as a council need to think about what we want and what you're okay with being in the city right of ways. So that's basically what we wanted to think about, right? You wanna add anything?
Look it over. There's a lot of stuff that's just, it's redlined, and the way I have to write this is basically you have to be specific about what gets left in and what gets left out. I took out a couple of chapters by just mentioning, they've got titles on it. So,
Well, so for example, the picture you had on Idaho Street, would this new ordinance allow them to keep their RV where it
yes,
sits?
yes,
And the Carver Walk RVs can stay where they're
yes, they
sitting?
can stay, they can be out in front of utility boxes, or whatever.
So if
Just
they're,
don't leave them on the road.
if they're junk vehicles, then we can enforce it, but
That's
if
right.
they're operable,
Like the old Fleetwood on Karen Court,
right.
junk.
And then I saw in your memo that you wrote, when you went over to this Idaho Street and took a picture though, that had power going to that. And that would be a violation because,
Well, if somebody's living in it, that's a different story. They're not supposed to do that.
We have power going to ours, we don't live in it.
They use it for dehumidifiers a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
usually,
it's not
especially in the
mandated.
winter, they'll keep some heat on it so it doesn't freeze or something like
Yeah.
that.
okay,
But, I mean, you didn't strike out in your, in this code at all, being parking in a public right of way. So I wasn't sure, are you gonna edit that to,
Where's that?
in the memorandum that you sent out, you're gonna edit it so that way parking in it right of way is allowed, because you left it in there. to apply.
It's allowed as long as you're not on the, I'll have to go back and read
Okay,
it again.
okay,
but
no problem, yeah.
I've read it for
So,
2 weeks now.
yeah, you're just making it legal that they can park in the right of way. Darren, do you have anything you wanna add? This was something that was directly affecting you.
Yeah, I mean, every time we go to read meters, there's a certain amount of, not necessarily RVs, well, I've had trailers, cars that are parked over the meter boxes, and that causes us to either try and make contact at that point, or make a separate trip to read that meter.
What about maintaining?
Yeah, I mean, it precludes us from maintaining the right of ways, and I don't think that that's been a big focus in the past, is maintaining the right of ways, but we've made a pretty hard press lately at cleaning them up and keeping them groomed, for multiple reasons. It makes the town look better, makes us easier to get to our utilities, and that's kind of our charge of public works, is to keep the right of ways open and maintained.
Well, just the safety aspect.
Yeah, and I just don't think that's been a focus in the past, but as we get deeper into it, it becomes more difficult when the vehicles are there.
Are you delineating it from RVs and vehicles as well? You're keeping the abandoned vehicles, broken vehicles, those are staying in there.
okay. You got, you happy?
Well, happy, but
Okay, any other questions? Well, I just wanna make sure I can move on. Any other questions? You got anything more?
No, whatever you decide.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. We'll move to, old business. No old business? Motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
There's a motion second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned 5:41. Before everybody leaves, we do have a birthday coming up later this week, and so we have some